To paraphrase those visionary artists, ABBA, pretty contemporary conversation for tonight, the opponents of progress are finally facing their Waterloo. Recently, the revised plans for the redevelopment of the Waterloo South were approved by my colleague in the other place, the Planning Minister, the Honourable Rob Stokes. This large-scale project will provide a mix of social, affordable and private housing. And this is possible thanks largely to the New South Wales Government's $22 billion Communities Plus program. It's incredible investment in communities and affordable housing. The Communities Plus program is a new approach to providing affordable housing in New South Wales, developing dedicated precincts with integrated private and affordable housing facilitated by better access to transport, better access to employment and improved community facilities and open spaces. The program is expected to deliver 23,000 new and replacement social housing dwellings, 500 affordable housing dwellings and up to 40,000 private dwellings over the next decade. By integrating these different types of housing and providing the necessary social infrastructure wrapped around that housing, the New South Wales Government is avoiding the planning mistakes of the past. In the past, planning policies have attempted to group housing by category. This can often have adverse effects on the community due to a lack of private investment and attraction of employment to that community. By adopting an integrated approach, the New South Wales Government is taking steps to attract private investment that will provide jobs for those who have, frankly, fallen on harder times. Additionally, this investment attracts the social infrastructure wrapped around and needed for a community to flourish. Social services and private businesses like cafes and hairdressers and shops, local theatres and sporting clubs and community events are attracted to this diverse community. The revised plans for Waterloo South allocate almost 30% of the project to social housing, public housing and affordable housing for low-income earners. The 847 dwellings proposed increases the social housing in the precinct by 98 properties. This means 98 more households in an area having access to a stable place to call home. I have a keen interest in the Waterloo South redevelopment. Before coming to this place, as members know, I was a councillor on the former South Sydney Council and subsequently the City of Sydney Council for just over 12 years. As a councillor, I was involved in many master plans and proposals to redevelop that precinct from Labor and Liberal governments. Developing policies to develop solutions for Waterloo, among other areas of Sydney which could help achieve the key goals of social housing integrated with private housing, giving people not only a roof over their head but also the tools they needed to get on in society. The importance of social housing is something I understand well. Thanks to my upbringing, I began my life in public housing in Penrith. Back in the 70s when I was growing up, the Housing Commission wasn't structured as a permanent housing solution. It was viewed as a hand up or an opportunity to get on your feet and get on with your life, and in doing so affording others the same opportunity to follow you through the public housing system. My young parents seized that opportunity, moving from social housing to private rental and subsequently to a low-cost home purchase in the suburb of Kingswood. Unfortunately, in recent years and at times haphazard approach to supporting for those doing it tough in our society has become a matter of throwing money at problems without reforming the policy settings. This has contributed to increasing rates of generational welfare dependency, not because those doing it tough are naturally inclined to this lifestyle, but because the pathways and opportunities out of that lifestyle haven't been effectively provided. Those members with a good memory may recall I raised this very matter in my inaugural speech to the Parliament. I spoke to the importance of public-private partnerships when developing projects for the renewal of social housing precincts, particularly with Redfern-Waterloo in mind. In particular, I raised the example, the Redfern-Waterloo Master Plan, which has gone through many iterations since that time. I make the point in my speech that money alone cannot fix all the problems that affect social housing precincts. What is needed is the infrastructure and private investment that gives people the opportunity to move on. As the saying goes, a rising tide lifts all boats. Opportunities helps all community. With the proposed Waterloo South redevelopment, we are engaging that policy reform I mentioned earlier. The government is changing up the way we provide public housing and affordable housing and engaging private and not-for-profit sectors in this process. This approach means infrastructure investment and, most importantly, good jobs for those people who have fallen on hard times.
Mr. President. Mr President, I rise tonight to say a few words about the former Labor